a horrifying murder of a family that will make your blood run cold. Who took the lives of the 3 adults and 2 little children? Don't miss out. The psychics will find the killer werewolf. This is Psychic Investigations. Only true and impressive stories are collected here. These are resonant criminal cases and unbelievable paranormal anomalies. People who call themselves clairvoyants investigate them. In this episode, medium Anna Galliers heads for a tiny village in western Ukraine where a terrible murder happened.
The bodies of the 5 members of the Novak family were found in one of the local houses. All of them were brutally stabbed.
Nobody could even think this could ever happen. Such things have never happened in our village.
The victims are 32-year-old Roman Novak, the father of the family, his 28-year-old wife Tetiana, and their 2 children, 4-year-old Vera and 10-month-old Nazar. The man's 52-year-old mother, Anna Novak, who lived with her son's family, was also found dead.
All of them had stab wounds on their bodies and slash cuts on their throats.
According to the forensic examination, all the family members died from excessive bleeding.
No valuables were stolen from the house. The family had no debts or conflicts with anybody. A criminal case was started over a brutal murder.
This is little Vera playing with her brother Nazar. The boy took his first steps only a few weeks ago. The video was shot a month before the awful tragedy that took the lives of these little angels and their parents and grandmother.
It was very hard for all of us.
The Novaks were an ordinary country family. Roman drilled wells, while Tetiana was a seamstress and had spent the recent year on maternal leave. Roman's mother, Anna, was a saleswoman at the local grocery.
The children were so nice. The girl had curly hair and was very pretty. It's a great tragedy for the entire village. It was a decent family, and they all died.
Roman's elder brother Ruslan lost peace of mind with the Novak family's death. His house is only 300 meters away from the place where the horrific tragedy occurred.
I look there all the time. I'm hoping to see Mom or Roman appear from the house.
Roman was 3 years younger than Ruslan. They lost their father when they were young boys. The man was hit by a train. The mother raised the boys all by herself.
When someone close to you dies, you don't know what to do. But when the whole family of your dearest people is gone, I can't even express it with words.
The man's only support now is his family, his wife, Mariana, and 12-year-old son, Alexander. The boy can't even speak of the tragedy, as he lost his 2 cousins, who were as close as siblings to him.
I'm now trying to avoid the house because the place terrifies me a lot.
We're in terror because we don't know who did it.
We contacted the psychics, Anna Galliers to be more precise. I really hope she can help.
I have a vision. A street. It's dark and I see almost nothing. A huge hound of unbelievable size emerges in front of me. Its eyes are bloodshot and it's growling like a werewolf. But the dog seems to be ignoring me. It's standing on the front step of a house. Then it turns around and rushes into the house. My goodness, there are the people from the photo inside, and I hear screams. It's tearing those people apart. This is horrific.
People have been gathering in front of the Novaks' house since early morning, waiting for the psychics. This man, Vasil, who is Tetiana's brother, is waiting nervously. He has cerebral palsy, but he's trying to live like everyone else. He always helped his sister and was little Vera's godfather.
I spent a lot of time with her. I could take her to a football game or here or to the rides. Her first words weren't dad or mom, but Vujko, that is, an uncle.
Hello.
Hello. Hello?
I really hope you can help us.
Can I come into the yard?
Sure.
There's a girl spirit in front of me. She's fair-haired and
The girl is Vera.
she's pointing at the swing as if asking me to swing her.
She loved that swing. It was Vera's favorite spot.
The girl isn't the only spirit here. There's also a little boy. He's dark-haired.
And that's her little brother.
I saw a woman's figure. She was all bluish and the expression on her face was terrible. I couldn't even imagine who she was and why she'd come. The boy's spirit is going somewhere. I'm following him. My God. There's a woman's body here. It feels like she was struggling before she died. She's holding a baby in her arms. It's a murdered boy. It's like she was trying to defend him from the beast that was murdering them.
Yes, Tatiana was found here with Nazar, her little son, who was less than a year old.
He was supposed to have his first birthday in 3 days.
There are other dead people in the house. There's an elderly woman here. She was sleeping.
Mom was sleeping there.
The beast runs into the room and throws her down to the floor, and it's like it digs its claws into her body. She's stabbed multiple times.
Mom had lots of stab wounds.
Indeed, the body of Anna Novak, Roman and Ruslan's mother, was found in the kitchen. While the woman was sleeping, the murderer threw her down to the floor and stabbed her 12 times.
We need to go there. There's someone else there. Oh my God, there's a man's body here. He's all bloodied. His throat is slashed.
It was my brother.
According to the local police, Roman Novak's body was found on the floor of the living room. The man was lying face up.
And the girl whose spirit I saw in the yard. She was lying here dead, but not on the floor. Was there something here?
The couch.
The child's throat was cut without any mercy. Oh my goodness, I can't. It's a nightmare. The murderer had no mercy, even on the children. He cut them. I can't be here anymore. Give me water. When the family was found, the door wasn't locked.
It wasn't locked. It was closed but not locked.
According to Ruslan, Roman, Tatiana, and Anna almost never left the door unlocked because they had small children in their house. Therefore, we can assume somebody else didn't lock it. It was probable that the person had been watching the family and sneaked inside the house while someone of them was entering. Or one of the family members let them in, but in this case, they had to know the murderer well.
Wait. You were suspected of the murder of your sister and her family. And I feel powerful guilt emanating from you. You were the last to see them alive.
Indeed, Tatiana's brother Vasil was among the suspects.
I was the last person who visited them. I left at about 4 in the afternoon and went home.
Hold on, I see the murderer's hand gripping the knife. He's holding it in his right hand.
The police also found that the murderer was right-handed.
And you, Vasil, couldn't hold the knife in your right hand because it's not functioning properly because of your condition.
It's true that Vasil is left-handed. His right hand is partially paralyzed. He can move it a little, but it's too hard for him to take or carry things in it.
The investigators checked if Vasil could be connected to the murder of the Novaks, and it turned out that he had an alibi.
What kind of vehicle was here? There are 2 people in it. Both are men. One is young and the other is elderly. Oh God, the older one. He's standing over the bodies of Tatiana and the infant, and he dashes out of the yard.
Uncle came.
The uncle came to take the family somewhere, He and Roman had arranged that the other day.
As it turned out, Mikhailo, Ruslan's uncle, and his son arrived at the Novaks at 6:30 in the morning.
They were supposed to go to the monastery.
The monastery where Roman and his family were going to go is in a town 15 kilometers away. The man wanted to take his family there to see the sermon by a priest who was visiting the town those days.
At that moment, a very strange voice whispered to me, "Too late." And then there was a horrible whimper, like that of a dog. I got seriously scared. After the uncle ran out of the yard, he took his phone with trembling hands and called an ambulance and the police.
Yes, an ambulance and the police, yes.
The police officers began checking where the man had been and what he had been doing before he informed of what he'd found.
I saw a woman. The woman started laughing awfully. It was like laughter from another world. Now I see that there's somebody who saw the murderer, and they're somewhere nearby.
But who could that be? The police claim there are no witnesses to the tragedy.
It's not a human, but an animal, a dog.
Yes, there is a dog.
The dog saw the murderer.
Usually, the dog is in the front yard, but today, Ruslan tied him in the backyard so he won't hinder the investigation.
The dog was in the back. He could see the street and who entered the yard.
The dog knows something, but I can't speak to animals. I have a colleague, Olena Stetsenko. She speaks to animals. We need to call her.
Okay.
Come on.
The hereditary Mulfer Olena Stetsenko, luckily, happened to be nearby, so she immediately joined the investigation.
Olena, these are the victim's relatives.
I'm so sorry. It's a great loss.
Olena, let's go see the dog. He's our only witness.
This is a ritual strip that helps me speak to animals. Don't be afraid, show me the truth. Show me who you saw. My God, this is so awful. He showed me red eyes and a huge furry dog. It's like a werewolf.
Just like her colleague, the clairvoyant also saw a werewolf, but what kind of entity is that?
The werewolf. It had been walking in this yard for a long, long time. At that moment, I felt the murderer close by to me. I feel the murderer's energy. It's very similar to yours.
It turned out that many of the villagers also suspect Ruslan of the murder of his brother's family and their mother. But is it really so?
Ruslan, I need to see your house. Roman and his brother were separated due to a disagreement. It felt like Roman accused his brother of murder.
He claimed my wife poisoned his dog.
Ruslan had an old dog. Several days before the tragedy, Roman dropped by in the morning and didn't see the dog at his place.
And so Roman began shouting at me, saying it was me and my wife who poisoned the dog.
But it turned out the dog simply broke the leash and ran away. However, nobody understands why Roman thought it was his brother's wife who poisoned the dog.
Did you reconcile?
Yes.
Ruslan has no blood on his hands. But then why did I keep feeling that his energy was similar to the murderer's?
The police checked to see if Ruslan could be involved in the murder of the family, but this version wasn't confirmed.
A woman is connected to your family's deaths. I feel like she provoked a conflict.
It was Sunday. He returned from the church very irritable and started shouting at Titiana. I thought I didn't want to hear that and told him to calm down. Then I went home. But he called me 2 hours later and asked me not to tell anyone about the scandal. He said they had reconciled and everything was fine.
He thought the boy wasn't his son. I asked him, Who told you that? But he refused to answer.
Roman blamed Tetiana for unfaithfulness, claiming somebody had told him at the church that Nazar wasn't his son. Vasil recalls that his sister cried bitterly and felt deeply offended.
He calmed down, and after I went home later that day, he called me and apologized. He said it was fine. Thank God, I thought.
Somebody lied to Roman. It was done to slander Tetiana. He was being annoyed on purpose. There was a woman in the house when the murder occurred. Roman began communicating with the woman in the morgue not long before his family was murdered.
Did Roman tell you? Did he tell you he was seeing a woman?
Mom told me after he took away Aunt.
As it turned out, almost 2 weeks before the tragedy, the brother's aunt died from a stroke.
Roman went to the morgue to take his aunt's body, right? And then, after that, he saw the woman and felt a dead body's scent.
He said she was haunting him. Mom said he couldn't sleep at night.
He called and asked to take him to the monastery, and so they arranged to go there on Monday.
So, Roman wanted to go to the monastery himself to speak to the priest because he felt very bad. And when his uncle arrived to pick him up, he saw this nightmare.
The woman. She's next to me. She's running over there to the house.
It was like I was taken back in time to the night of the tragedy. I feel the werewolf. I feel it in the house. It's playing with Roman. It possesses his mind. It's in. It ran in this room. The woman and the infant are sleeping. The woman jumps up, she grabs the baby, she runs, but the devil is chasing her. He's tearing her apart. She falls on the threshold, and the devil turns around and enters here. There's a woman in here. She's elderly. He attacks this elderly woman. He stabs. The woman falls, but he keeps stabbing and stabbing. The blade breaks, but he finds another one.
It's true that there was a knife with a broken blade found in the kitchen next to the murdered woman's body.
He's running again, a little girl. He attacks her and slashes her throat.
Olena! Olena, Olena!
Olena, have some water.
She needs outside. Roman's spirit is here. He kneels and asks to forgive him for killing them all.
This can't be real. How is this even possible?
He loved his mother and his children a lot. He couldn't have done it.
Roman didn't want to murder his family. He was murdering the woman he'd taken from the morgue and who he kept seeing next to him. The demon played tricks on him, so he didn't know he was murdering his family.
He wanted to rid himself of the devil.
And then I realized who the woman whose image I kept seeing was. It was Roman's late aunt, but it wasn't her spirit, but a devil that assumed her appearance. And the demon was laughing at the poor man because it got what he wanted. Roman's mind.
He's praying, feeling the demon is still in him, and he's trying to rid himself of it. I feel the smell of burnt cloth. Did he try to burn himself?
The carpet was burned.
It started burning from the candle.
Everything was shrouded in smoke.
The experts concluded that Roman's body was burned. His pants burned completely, and his body was covered in first-degree burns.
But the man didn't die from the burns. His throat was slashed.
Roman slashed his throat himself.
This is incomprehensible. Did the man really murder all his family and then slash his own throat? But how did he do it?
Roman was an ex-serviceman and used to serve in special military forces. He knew how to administer the right wounds so that a person wouldn't survive.
The knife that was used as the weapon didn't disappear. It was in the house. But what matters most is that there were 2 knives.
2 murder weapons, 2 knives, were found on site. One of them was broken and was lying next to Roman's mother, and the other one was found in the room next to his hand. The murderer took the knives in the house.
The werewolf was Roman. The demon took possession of him occasionally, but above all, he inherited the demon from his father, whom it had destroyed as well.
He was schizophrenic, and he jumped under the train himself.
When a spirit or a demon takes possession of somebody, it simply squeezes out the person's consciousness, and they become weird. What we think of as insanity can, in reality, be obsession.
Thank you very much. The truth is a hard pill to swallow, but we needed to hear it.
The family's friends and relatives are struck dumb. A model family man took the lives of those who he loved most. If you're impressed by the story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more shocking stories are coming up.